Hello everyone, in this video we're going to learn about the elements of an essay. So the essay in academic writing differs from one type of essay to another. There are different types of essays: comparison, compare contrast, or comparison and contrast, cause effect, argumentative, etc. So the structure that we are going to learn about today is just simple academic essay. Okay, so what are the elements of an essay? What makes an essay? There are different parts, three different parts that make an essay. So the first one is called introductory paragraph, the second is called body paragraphs, and the last one is called concluding paragraph. Let's see in detail what does each one mean, what makes each part, and we're gonna see examples in each one. Okay, so the first part is introductory paragraph. Now, what makes an introductory paragraph? What should we write in an introduction? An introduction includes three different parts. The first one is the hook, the second is the background information, and the last important part is the thesis. And the thesis is the core or the heart of the introduction as well as of the essay as a whole. Okay? Now, what's a hook? And what's a background information, and what's a thesis statement? So let's scroll down to see each one in detail. Now, the introductory paragraph. What's a hook? The hook is usually the first one or two sentences in an introductory paragraph. It makes the reader interested in reading the essay. Writers use different types of hooks. Now, before talking about or going over the different types of the hooks, now, some students fall in this mistake. They go to the prompt and they start answering the prompt from the very beginning of the introduction, and this is a very big mistake. Never answer the prompts at the very beginning of the introduction. So if you want to do so, the right place is the thesis statement, which is the end of the introduction, not the very beginning. So the hook just states something interesting. It just hooks the reader to keep him or her reading your essay. So there are different types of the hook. The first type is a thought-provoking question. You can start with, or you can make your hook as a thought-provoking question. Example, what's more important, having the convenience of plastic water bottles or having a healthy, clean environment? So if you are talking or writing about this topic of the environment, you can just raise this question at the very beginning to make the reader think deeply over this question and keep him reading your essay. Or a hook can also be a request to reflect on or visualize a situation to help the reader make a personal connection to the issue. Example, think about how much paper and plastic you throw away in one day. Multiply that amount by 365 days in the year. Think about how many rooms it all would fill. So in this case, you would make the reader connect, okay, the issue to his personal life. Okay, so he would make a personal connection to the issue being discussed. Or you can also make the hook as a relevant or memorable quotation. Example, former US President Franklin D. Roosevelt once said, "A nation that destroys its soils destroys itself. Forests are the lungs of our land, purifying the air and giving fresh strength to our people." This is a good quote. You can also start your essay or your introduction with an interesting quote like this one, and make sure any quote that you decide or want to start with should be very relevant to the topic you will be discussing in your essay. Or a hook can also be a surprising statistic. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, Americans throw away roughly 32 million tons of plastic each year. This is a very interesting and surprising statistic. Now, make sure when you introduce or use like a statistic, make sure to cite the source at the end of your essay. After you finish your essay, make sure to have a works cited page and you cite the source where you got this, let's say, quote from. Finally, a hook can also be an interesting and relevant observation. Example, on every college campus, you see many students walking around with plastic water bottles. This is interesting and relevant observation. Okay, so these are 4 or 5 different types of the hook. You can choose in one of these and make your hook at the very beginning of your introduction. Now, what comes after the hook? Immediately after you finish your hook, then you will have to start your background information. Okay, so in an introductory paragraph, background information is information on the topic that sets up the reader for the thesis statements. It explains the topic in a way that makes the thesis statement seem logical. For example, if a writer's thesis is, a bike share program is good for cities and the people who live there because it's a convenient way to travel, it improves lives in the city, and it makes people healthier. Of course, this is the thesis, the one between the inverted commas. Then the background information should introduce bike share programs in a way that shows that bike share programs have advantages. The same thing, anytime you want to write about a specific topic, just introduce that topic. Talk about that topic in one of these ways. You have to follow one of these types, okay, of sharing background information about the topic. So the first one is, or the first type is, a general explanation of the topic. Now, if you think that the topic needs some explanation before you state your thesis statements, make sure to provide a little bit of background information in a way that you can explain the topic to the reader and give him or her some important information about the topic. Or if the topic is simple, clear, then you don't have to define the topic or give an explanation. Make sure to provide historical information on the topic. That also helps, and that counts as important background information. Or you can also provide a personal story that relates to the topic. Sometimes after the hook, you can provide a story that is very interesting, that is very relevant to the topic you are discussing in your essay. Finally, another type of background information is relevant data and statistics. Again, if you want to go with this type, make sure to cite the source. Whatever data or information, statistic information you provide in the background information in your introduction, don't forget to cite the source at the end after you finish your essay. Make sure you have a works cited page, as I mentioned before, and in this page, try to list your sources. Okay, so we talked about the hook, background information. Now it is the time to talk about the thesis statements. Now, what's a thesis statement? Thesis statements, this is the core, as I mentioned before, of the essay. The thesis statements in an essay. Now, some characteristics of a thesis is that it is usually the last sentence in the introductory paragraph, and I want you please to make it the last sentence. Now, when the reader reads the hook, then the background information, then the thesis sticks in the reader's mind. This is my main point. So the reader keeps it in his mind or her mind while reading the body paragraphs, and he or she will have a clear idea what you are going to discuss in the essay. And make sure it is, in addition to being the last sentence, it is a sentence, one sentence. Don't make it 2 or 3 or 4 sentences. Don't divide your points that should go in one sentence in different sentences. Okay, make it one single sentence at the end of the introduction. Also, it tells the reader what ideas will be developed in the body of the essay. Yeah, it tells the reader the main points, okay, that you will discuss in the essay. Now, what makes a thesis statement? A thesis is made up of 2 parts. Every thesis statement has to have these 2 parts. The first one is the topic, and the second is the point of view. We call it the point of view or opinion or attitude, whatever. The same thing. The point of view often states the individual ideas or points that the writer will develop in the essay. Below is an example of a thesis statement that states the points are numbered. Now, as I said here, the thesis statement should include the topic and the point of view. Now, the underlined part, this is an example of a thesis, a very good and simple example. Bringing your own bag to the store saves trees, reduces waste, and saves money. Now, the topic is bringing your own bag to the store. Now, I would, let's say, reword this topic into a question or a prompt. What are the advantages of bringing one's own bag to the store? Let's consider this as a prompt for this thesis statement. Now, how would I answer this prompt or topic? What are the advantages of bringing one's own bag to the store? So, when creating a thesis statement, I have to include the topic in my thesis plus my own point of view, my own opinion, my own attitudes about this topic. It saves trees, reduces waste, and saves money. Now, this type of thesis statement is called closed thesis statement because we have mentioned all the points that should be discussed in the thesis. Okay, so it's closed. I cannot add any more point to this one. And based on this thesis, I should have 3 body paragraphs. Okay, so the first one should develop the idea of saving trees. The second body paragraph should develop the idea of reducing waste, and the last body paragraph should analyze and discuss the idea of saving money. Now, here's another thesis statement. Taking public transportation, it's not about the same topic, of course, different topic. Taking public transportation benefits both the environment and riders. Now, the difference between this thesis statement and this one is that this thesis statement is open. It says benefits both the environments and riders, but does it list the different types of benefits? The answer is no. So this is the difference. This is closed. The ideas and the points are already mentioned. The reader already have an idea or has an idea about what will be discussed in the essay. The different body paragraphs will discuss these 3 points, no more. However, here we don't know what benefits does taking public transportation give to both the environments and riders. So the reader will understand and learn about these benefits throughout the essay. So this is called open thesis statements. And I think yes, you learned about this before in one of the previous modules. Okay, so this is for the thesis statement. Now, let's talk about what comes after the introduction, which is the body paragraphs. Body paragraphs usually have 2 to 4 paragraphs, but I recommend it to be like 3 paragraphs. So in the total, the number of the paragraphs should be 5: introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. So the body paragraphs are 3. Now let's talk about each one. Each body paragraph should have these 3 elements. The first part is the topic sentence, the second is supports and details, and the last is a concluding sentence. Now, what is the function of the topic sentence? A topic sentence has 2 functions. The first is to introduce one point from the thesis, and the second function is to give the reader an idea about what is the main point of that specific paragraph. Okay, so let's go back to this thesis to see an example. Bringing your own bag to the store saves trees, reduces waste, and saves money. Now let's suppose that I need to write a topic sentence for my first body paragraph. Now I should consider point number 1 in the thesis. I should write something as simple as bringing your own bag to the store saves trees, or saving trees is one benefits of bringing one's own bag to the store. Okay, now the second body paragraph's topic sentence should look like something like this. bringing your own back to the store reduces waste. Or, reducing waste is another benefit of bringing one's own back to the store. And the last topic sentence in the third body paragraph should look like bringing your own back to the store saves money. Or saving money is the last advantage or benefits of bringing one's own back to the store. Or in addition to saving trees and reducing waste, saving money is just another important benefit of bringing one's own back to the store. These are just examples of topic sentences. Now, let me mention here very important thing. Some students, when they want to write a topic sentence based on the thesis statement that they have listed in the introduction, they don't respect the order. This is a big mistake. So here, number one is saves trees. Make your topic sentence based on make your topic sentence of body paragraph 1 based on this one, saves trees. Make your body paragraph or make the topic sentence of your second body paragraph based on waste, reducing waste, and make the last body paragraph based on saving money. Respects the order in the thesis. Now, if you start with reduces waste and saves money second, then saves trees as the last one, you are not respecting the correct order you have already listed before in the thesis statements, and this is a big mistake and it affects on the student score. Okay, let's go back and finish with the other different parts of the paragraph. So we said that it starts with the topic sentence. Now, what comes after the topic sentence? What comes after the topic sentence are the supporting details. Now, this topic sentence is not enough by itself. It needs support. So make sure to provide enough examples, let's say statistics, whatever support you may think can, let's say, support your topic sentence, which itself supports the idea in the thesis statement. Now, how should you end up your concluding sentence? Your last sentence in each body paragraph should just, let's say, restate the topic sentence. Just restate the topic sentence. Say it in other or different words. Now, the concluding paragraph, or as everybody knows, it is the conclusion. Now, the function of the conclusion is to restate the thesis statement. In other words, you should write or start with a sentence that looks a lot like the thesis statement. Okay? And if you can't paraphrase it in different words, just repeat it in the same words. Just restate the thesis statement. Now, your conclusion should have two important parts. The first is to restate the thesis, as I mentioned. Okay, now what comes after the restatement of the thesis is you can choose any one of these. You can end up your conclusion with an insight, an opinion about the topic, recommendation, a prediction, or a call to action. Any one of these. Okay, and if you have raised questions in the introduction, in the hook, basically, feel free to answer those questions, okay, in the concluding paragraph as part of these categories to choose from. Okay, I think that's it. I hope I did explain the elements of an essay clearly. I will share a sample essay with you. Just go over that sample essay, read it different times, and ask yourself anytime you read the essay, ask yourself, where is the introduction? Which part is the introduction? What is the hook? Underline the hook, use a highlighter if you want, underline the background information, highlight the thesis, ask yourself how many body paragraphs, which is the topic sentence, what are the supports, which one is the concluding sentence, and which one is the restatement. And how did the author end up his concluding paragraph or the conclusion? What type did he use here? Is it insight, opinion, recommendation, or prediction, or a call to action? Okay, so thanks for watching. Hope this helps. Goodbye.